Hi all, so this is my Strand Bookstore book haul. Okay, so let's do this. Not all of them are YA titles, but yeah, we'll go through what we have. Okay, so Will Grayson by John Green and David Levithan, and I think I might read this one next because I've read David Levithan in Dash and Lily's Book of Dares and I really enjoyed it. It was very fun and cute read. And according to Melissa, although she's biased because she's a massive John Green fan, she says that this is all forms of awesome and that I should really enjoy it because there's musical theatre in there. So yeah, I think I'm going to give it a whirl. And Melissa put her Nerd Fighter note within a copy of Will Grayson, and I put a Nerd Fighter note in a copy of Looking for Alaska that I found. So we represented on that, and that will be in my video montage of the Strand, so you'll see. And if you don't know what we're talking about, I'll try and find the relevant link or something that kind of explains or mentions what this is, but it's something that nerd fighters do with John Green material. So yeah, anywho. I got Never Let Me Go by the Japanese author whose name I will not try to pronounce because it will be insulting. But I saw this film and I found it interesting. Some performances I preferred over others, but I know it was very hyped as a film and the novel was very hyped, but I'm interested in giving it a read, so. Psyche in a Dress by Francesca Leah Block. It's a collection of, like, it's short stories and poems and whatnot, and it's kind of mythological material, and yeah, I just thought it was interesting and the cover was cool. The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness, and it's the first book in the Chaos Walking series, and I know that this book has lots of hype and many fans, and it does sound interesting, so I thought I'd give it a read at some stage. And of course that's another series, so if I like it I'll have to keep buying the other books. Pegasus by Robin McKinley. I've wanted this for ages because it's about Pegasus, and it's Robin McKinley, and I'm a huge Robin McKinley fan. Enchantment by Orson Scott Card, and this is actually from Barnes & Noble, I'm just remembering. It's not from the Strand, but my friend Fran, who I visited while I was in New York, she recommended this to me. It's an adult fairy tale retelling sort of fantasy novel, and I do like my adult ones as well as my YA, so I grabbed that one, and the cover's pretty nice. And then here's Dash and Lily's Book of Dares. And I read and enjoyed this while I was in New York because it was winter, and I was in New York and I went to the Strand, and it's mentioned a few times in the book, so I thought it was very fitting and atmospheric that I should read it then. So you'll laugh at this, some of you. I got Slice of Cherry by Dia Reeves, and as some viewers might know, I've still yet to read Bleeding Violet by Dia Reeves, and I've had that book for a few years. Yes, a few years, so I'm that pathetic. But hopefully having this on my shelf as well will be like the extra hit on the head to remind me to bloody well read Bleeding Violet. So, and this also just, it sounds like a cool twisted read. I know that Bleeding Violet's cool and twisted too, and I just like the teacups even though there's blood. I think that's pretty groovy. Luminous by Dawn Metcalf, and although this has a gorgeous cover, I'm not misled into thinking that it will actually be a, you know, not so fantastic book that just has a really pretty cover as so many YA and paranormal books are and do, because Karen Healy, author of Guardian of the Dead and the Shattering, gave it a very positive little slogan back here, and so the premise I read, it sounds quite interesting. So I wasn't buying it just for the pretty cover thinking that it will actually be a letdown. I do have some hopes for it, so I'm curious to read it. Timeless by Alexandra Monnier. Anyways, it's a time travel novel, and it has a very nice cover too. But I've heard mixed things about it, but I've been curious to read it for a while, so I thought I'd get it. One Day by David Nichols. My friend said that it's a very depressing book. My friend Dom told me that. I'm not surprised because I finally saw the movie and it was fairly depressing too. The movie was, but I thought I'd still like to read it, and it can go on my pile of to-be-read adult books that are sitting over there, but I need to build up more adult novels and not just keep getting YA, I think, so I got that one. The Fairy Ring by Kiki Hamilton. I've been interested in it, of course, because it's about fairies, and it's also a period novel, so, and the cover's cool, and I've heard some pretty high praise. And yeah, I'm just curious to read this one. And also there's a map. Any book that has a map is, you know, promising. promising. I like books with maths, so. And then finally, this one was a real shocker, and I'm very curious, and I need to find out more about this because I'm kind of, I feel sort of betrayed and like, yeah, I'm just baffled by this one. I found a book called Alice in Wealth. My friend Fran discovered this, Alice in White Star, by Isabel Carmody, who I freaking love. And I had no idea about this book. I did not know of its existence, so I purchased it because I want to know what's going on here. And like, the premise does actually sound interesting. It's like this girl has a heightened sense of smell, and then I think all her other senses develop, but into weird things, and it's twisted and stuff. And it just sounds very cool, and it's Isabel Carmody, but I didn't know about it, so I was really shocked to discover it. So yeah, I want to find out, maybe was this just a US release or something, or it might have a different title back home, which could well be the case. Yeah, so I was very confused, but I grabbed it because it's Isabel. So those are my Strand books. I think I did pretty well. My deal with myself initially was that I would only purchase things that were $10 and under, and that I did. I stuck to that. And I would only purchase things that either weren't available in Australia, which is most of this stuff, or that if they are available in Australia, they're much dearer. So I stuck to my rule, and I did very well there. Initially it was only going to be up to the value of $50, and then there were just too many good books, so it was up to the value of $100, and trust me, that was restraining myself. I could have kept going, but of course books are really heavy, so they weighed down on my luggage, which made a big issue for me in coming home. So to have purchased even more books would have been utterly insane, and would have created a lot of problems with me at the airport and whatnot. So I got more than I needed to, and I'm happy with all my purchases, so I think I did very well. And I had a great time in the Strand, and I'll do the montage and put it up for you soon. Also, Sonia from Sonny the Book Lover gave me this book mark, and you can have the little finger pointing at exactly where you are in your book when you go in. I think that's really cute. So thank you, Sonia, and that's my Strand book haul, and goodbye.